Can small-scale wind projects make sense for you? Well, let's take a look. You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. Small projects utilizing one or a few utility-scale wind turbines, and this one is not a utility-scale turbine, but they can be financially viable under specific conditions, though they face challenges due to economies of scale. Unlike large wind farms, small projects have higher per-unit costs for installation, maintenance, and grid integration. However, strategic approaches can improve their viability, and behind-the-meter configurations can mitigate regulatory hurdles. Today, I outline key factors and provide resources to guide businesses, school districts, or municipalities considering such investments. Small wind projects with 1 to 5 turbines can be financially viable and can make sense in areas with strong wind resources, with average wind speeds of 6.5 meters per second or above. High electricity prices, meaning above 15 cents per kilowatt hour, and favorable incentives. A single turbine can power a specific facility, like a school or factory, reducing energy bills and providing long-term cost stability. For example, a 2-megawatt turbine generating 5,000 megawatt hours annually at 10 cents per kilowatt hour could save $500,000 yearly, offsetting the installation costs of $2 to $4 million over 7 to 10 years. Federal tax credits offer up to 30% of costs, and state-level renewable energy credits, or RECs, can further improve returns. Net metering, where excess power is sold back to the grid, also boosts economics, though policies vary by state. So how do you improve that financial viability? Well, you consider 4 things. First, site selection. Use high-resolution wind maps provided by NREL to identify locations with optimal wind speeds, maximizing energy production costs. Coastal or elevated sites are often ideal. Second, financing and incentives. You should leverage grants, low-interest loans, or power purchase agreements to reduce upfront costs. Programs like USDA's REAP, which is Renewable Energy for America program, provide funding for rural projects. Third, energy use optimization. Align turbine output with on-site demand to maximize the savings. Energy storage systems can store excess power for peak times, enhancing financial returns even further. And fourth, maintenance strategies. You're going to need to partner with turbine manufacturers for long-term maintenance contracts to control costs, as small projects lack the bargaining power of large farms. One final consideration would be behind-the-meter systems. Installing turbines behind the meter, that means directly supplying power to a facility without grid export, and it can bypass complex permitting and interconnection processes, which often involve utility approvals and environmental studies. This approach suits schools or businesses with high energy demand, like manufacturing plants. It reduces regulatory delays and costs, but limits revenue from grid sales. Local zoning and environmental regulations still apply, so early consultation with your local authorities is critical. If you like what I've said today, be sure and click like and subscribe below. If you have thoughts or want me to address a particular topic relative to wind farms, please leave me a comment. If you'd like to learn more about this idea, here are a few resources. National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL, offers tools like the System Advisory Model, or SAM, to simulate project economics and wind resource maps for site assessment. The Database of State Incentives for Renewable Efficiency, or DESIRE, they offer state-specific incentives, tax credits, and net metering policies. DOA's Wind Exchange provides guides on small-scale wind permitting and case studies for community projects. Local energy agencies. Your state energy offices or regional utilities often provide free consultations for feasibility studies. For example, New York State Energy Research and Development Authority supports small wind incentives. And then in industry associations like the American Clean Power Association, they offer resources on project planning and connects stakeholders with experts. Finally, small projects must balance high initial costs ranging from $1,500 to $2,000 per kilowatt installed with long-term savings, engaging consultants for feasibility studies and securing community buy-in can mitigate risks. Hybrid systems, combining wind with solar or storage, can further enhance reliability and economics. By focusing on high wind sites, leveraging incentives, and considering behind-the-meter designs, small wind projects can be viable. The listed resources provide comprehensive data to navigate investment decisions effectively. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.